Hello chat. Alright, so today, as the title says, we're going to bike to an ice cream place in Fort Saskatchewan. We're currently, as you can see on the map there, wherever it is, I think it's that way. I think it's that one. Wherever it is there, oh, it's this way, okay, sure. We're going to bike to Miller's Ice Cream in Fort Saskatchewan. Hopefully this stream is 100% less scuffed than last time, because, you know, last one was pretty fucked. The metrics weren't working. The audio was fucked because I had a stupid loop going on. But I think I fixed both of those issues, and hopefully that's working. I will double check. I'll probably stop somewhere partway and check the stats, but should be fine. I do have the thing that I can see your chats, so if you want to chat about anything, feel free to do so. Alright, so like I say, we're going to set off to ice cream, and we'll see how that goes. Where I'm going today, I suspect the signal is not going to be great for a lot of it. We're going through a bit of foresty area, but we're also going near a bunch of golf courses and shit, so maybe all those people just have expensive cell towers and shit on their own. We'll see. I think I got the camera positioning better this time than my bad test stream. It's pointed up really far right now because I'm standing, but once I actually get on the bike, it's a lot better. As you can see, I'm running a road bike with 50mm tires, road slicks. These are not the type of tire that you should be riding on part of the course that I'm going to be riding today, that is going to be gravel. I get to start with a nice downhill, which is great. Obviously, and that's going to come at the bottom once we go underneath the bridge. Looks like he had it handled there. All right. I think the wind noise will be better this time. I think we just went BRB for a bit while I went under the bridge there. Like I said, the signal's gonna suck here. I think we're back. I heard that right, I'm not sure. And yeah, like I said, every downhill there is an uphill. This one's not too bad though, this is actually a really easy hill. Nice grading. There's one that we're going to go down soon that's much harder to climb. So, the topic is ice cream. Obviously we're going to go to a place called Miller's Ice Cream in Fort Saskatchewan. They serve Foothills Creamery ice cream. If anyone wants to make a suggestion of flavor, go ahead. I might ignore it though. I think there will be no wind noise. I've got a small mic with a wind blocker on it that I've heard is works really well for these. Instead of the default camera audio. It's building a huge house here. I'm not entirely sure how you even get to that house. I guess it's probably the same way you get to this golf course that's going to be on the left here. It's like a weird rural route. If I had electric gears, I would probably put my current gear on the display, but I don't. For the record, I'm going 26 kilometers an hour with 150 watts. I think the display should be showing more or less that. Now I'm not doing anything because I'm just coasting. Does look like my metrics are actually working this time, which is nice. Hopefully the audio is also good this time. No idea if you can hear me, but in theory you should be able to, at least my test version. Audio was good. Now on the side, I think it's called Woodcroft Golf Course or Wood something Golf Course. Wood Raven or something. This entire area is just full of golf courses. There's one here. There's one directly across the river to our right, called Raven's Crest or something like that. It's just over there. It's not quite directly. There's going to be one at the bottom of the hill, which is separate from this one, even though they're practically right beside each other. This at the bottom of the hill here is the Northeast Edmonton Park. It's the newest park in Edmonton. It's kind of nice. I biked around it once, but it's all gravel roads. And of course I once biked over the little covered bridge that's in it. I don't know if you can see it. A lot of cyclists. Within Edmonton, bylaw 5590 says that you must ring your bell when you pass a person. I don't usually do it for cyclists, but obviously pedestrians and joggers and stuff I usually do. Even though we're leaving Edmonton city limits, I usually just do it everywhere because I'm so used to doing it. So, ice cream. I gotta say, hot take, chocolate ice cream, mid. It all just tastes like a kind of mediocre chocolate. It's not even a particularly good chocolate. And it all just tastes the same. It's whatever, somatic satiety or whatever it's called. You're just all tasting the exact same thing constantly. It's just bland. And like, it's even the first couple of bites are good, but then you just get tired of it. Pedestrians here, dog walkers. Oh. And like, you know, you could get like an orange sorbet or something that's all just orange, but it's still more interesting than just all just chocolate. Because chocolate has this muted flavor that's just gets boring after a while. Orange has such a bright flavor that it's varied. In general, I prefer more fruity things over chocolate. And we're offline. Yeah, I figured around this area we would probably lose our signal. There's a bit place later after we cross the bridge. Probably going to lose the signal there as well. Around here there's a subdivision and a golf course called the Quarry. So around here the signal's probably going to be okay. Probably not the greatest bit rate, but should be alive at least. Anyway, ice cream. Good stuff. Yeah, chocolate banana, good stuff. Orange, good stuff. Anything fruit-based is great. You know, blueberry cheesecake, had that one last time, it was good. Of course, when it comes to chocolate, US has nothing for chocolate bars, which I think you guys call them candy bars, which is, I don't know, maybe more correct. But most of them do have chocolate, so we call them chocolate bars in Canada. But we have so much more selection. Like, we got Coffee Crisp. As far as I understand it, chocolatiers add coffee to make chocolate taste more chocolatey. So Coffee Crisp just takes that to the extreme and makes it taste a little bit coffee-ish. Even people that don't like coffee, don't drink coffee, love Coffee Crisp. They've tried to bring it to the Americas. As far as I understand it, it doesn't do well, which is crazy. It's great. I mean, honestly, I don't know the last time I bought one, so maybe chocolate bars just aren't a big market anymore. But we have like Eat More. I don't think you guys have that one. We got Crunchy. And obviously all of our chocolate is not made by Hershey's, so it's just automatically better for that alone. Your Hershey's chocolate is terrible. Even our like low-grade Nestle chocolate is better. I tried that Dubai chocolate stuff. It's okay. The only flavor, or the only manufacturer I've had from it is this Nutty Fruity from Costco. And the chocolate, like the filling might be fine, but the chocolate is not great. Kind of pointless. I like the theory that Dubai chocolate was created to dispel the rumors of the whole Dubai shitting toilet people thing. I don't really know the details of it, but it's kind of funny. Oh, speaking of regional shit, I tried these cheese souffle chips. They're all right. They kind of taste like Cheetos if they had a little bit of Parmesan on them. Alright, I guess we're live and we're going to stay live for a while. Yeah, so Cheetos, all the puff style in Canada. They're not great. There's the flaming hot ones that are the country style. They're pretty common as well. But if you want a crunchy cheese snack thing like Cheetos, everyone in Canada wants Hawkins cheesies, which are better than Cheetos in every way. Here's that quarry golf course that I was talking about. And that bridge right there we're going to cross. It's a brand new bridge. They just built it last year, or they finished building it last year. They took like a year or two to build it. Go up there, it goes to a little subdivision. But we're going across the bridge to get ice cream. Yeah, pretty nice. You can see down the river, little sides. And I think they're going to build like little sitting places right here. They haven't finished building yet. It was just opened late last year. It was right at the end of summer. started to fall. And we're officially in Strathcona County, I believe. We're out of Edmonton City. I would not be surprised if the signal goes to shit. And this path continues. If you kept going that way, it turns into gravel right away. But since I'm on a road bike, I want to stay on the path that is paved for long as possible, even though it has these little gravel crossings on it that are kind of annoying. That one, I don't know if it's temporary. Looks like it kind of is for the construction. This one's got pipes under it. I don't know if that one's temporary as well. Leave gates. Much better design than the ones in St. Albert. Because they reasonably slow you down enough to weave through them. Yeah, they reasonably slow you enough that you have to slow to maneuver them, but they don't like completely stop you. And they're not somewhat dangerous to go through like the St. Albert ones. If you catch a bar or something on the St. Albert ones, you're falling over. I use these thermal flasks rather than a real bottle because it's vacuum insulated. I put an ice cube in there and it's still frozen a couple hours later. Because who doesn't want cold water? Can't tell if this is tilted at all. Hopefully it's not. This path is all new, part of that. To the right. Hi. And we are on the gravel part. I'm afraid my bike was not really made for it. As you can see, a lot of cyclists ride on the side of the path. And very noisy gravel. Last time I did this, they just It was a little bit damp, so it was a lot nicer to ride on. This time it almost looks freshly graded, which makes it even worse. I'm sure it's nicer to walk on because it's softer, but it kind of sucks to bike on, at least with these tires. It'd be nice if they paved this. I assume there's people that wouldn't want it paved, but it would be nice. It is basically the only way to get to Fort Saskatchewan from Edmonton. I'm back out to the path here because there's people walking towards it. Like technically you can take a highway, it's not as nice. It's not really nice at all. Pavement quality is nice, but it's a pretty busy highway. I don't think most people would want to ride on it. I've done it a few times. It's not terrible. Funny enough, I've had more flats on that highway than I've had here. I've never gotten a flat from this gravel, even though it looks fairly sharp. And my tires are obviously not made for it. It's fine. Obviously, most people are riding something like a mountain bike there on this kind of path. I do have a mountain bike, but I almost never use it. I prefer the speed of the regular bike. At least when you're on pavement, the regular bike's a lot nicer to ride. Straight bars are kind of annoying, they're bad for your wrists. Although sometimes I sit up like this. It's nice to be able to switch back and forth to different positions. Counterintuitively, you actually want to keep a lot of speed when you're going on gravel like this on these kind of tires, except for when you're turning. Obviously, when you're turning, you got to worry about your tires slipping out. But when you're actually going forward, if you keep a lot of speed, you can manage your momentum better, and you won't slide out as easily. Because what's going forward remains going forward in good old physics. Obviously, when you turn, you're no longer going forwards. So your back end can slide. You do have to slow down for a bit for those. So, back to ice cream. I gotta say, Blizzard's mid. Back to my chocolate take. The only real flavors of Blizzards, or not Blizzards, sorry, McFlurries. The only real flavor of McFlurry is M&M, or sorry, Oreo, and in Canada it's Smarties. I think in the US it's M&M. Of note in Canada, for any American viewers watching, the Smarties in Canada are from Nestle. They're not the compressed powder candy things that you're used to. They're kind of like Chupa Chups, I guess. I don't remember what they're called. Rockets in Canada, but nobody knows of that except the Canadians. Yeah, we have Smarties here. Another chocolate thing that, again, doesn't exist in the US. I think it's the Hershey's monopoly. Like, they even manufacture chocolate for brands that are not supposed to be Hershey. It's kind of fucked. You just can't get good chocolate there. I mean, obviously you can buy like Lindor chocolates. Those are not made by them, but the average chocolate bar you're going to find in a gas station or whatever is going to be made by Hershey's. Although, in the UK, they got Smarties. Every orange Smartie has orange chocolate in it, which is amazing. They don't do that in Canada. We do have Cherry's chocolate oranges here. Those are good. But you don't get the random orange inside your Smarties. Apparently there was a Terry's chocolate apple, which I've never seen before. Although, you get these chocolate bananas from Germany. You ever had those? They're really good. Again, chocolate and banana. I think that's the savior of chocolate, you know? Or chocolate and orange. Chocolate by itself just doesn't cut it. Unless it's like a really high quality chocolate, maybe. Chocolate and coffee, chocolate orange, chocolate. Gotta be mixed with something. Plain chocolate is boring. We're going through a forest here. I'm kind of surprised the signal's still live. Either I missed a message that says it's not, or there's some kind of cell signal somewhere around here. I do have a one of these things that can aggregate connections and stuff like that, but I only have one actual internet connection to aggregate, so it's kind of pointless. But it's the setup for the system. It's the easiest way to set it up. It's already configured to be aggregating from the start. and I can just add internet connections later if I ever feel like it, or if I ever need to. Right now it's literally just hotspotting off my own regular personal phone. Because I have a whole shitload of bandwidth that I never use. And I'm pretty much always somewhere where there's Wi-Fi, whether I'm at work, at home, or whatever. There's some kind of Wi-Fi connection I use regularly. Like I say, you're supposed to ding when you're in Edmonton. Even out in Edmonton city limits, I still always do it. It's my bell. What the hell is it? I don't remember the name of the bell. But it's really nice. I like it's a really crisp ding. It doesn't come off very well on camera, if I recall. So you can't quite hear the long tail of the ding. Maybe on this mic it's a bit better. I'm used to the camera mic. Yeah, it's a really nice machined bell with a copper striker, or a brass striker I think it is. It just makes this really crisp ding. And we're out of the forest. We're more or less in Fort Saskatchewan. This is the only car road you have to take between Edmonton and Fort Saskatchewan. There's a gravel road, as you see. It is tiny. I've never actually seen a car driving on it. I always see cars parked there like we did. But I've never actually seen one driving. I assume they drove to get there. And it looks like this is slightly damp, so it's actually not bad to ride on. But it gets all of my tires and the washboard's not great. Nice washboard. This transition where it goes from gravel to pavement is never great. And the pavement quality here is not great. Coincidentally, to the other side of the river there's a road you can take instead of the highway for a little part of it. That is literally the worst quality pavement I have ever biked on. It is so bad that there's a section of gravel road in that road that is better biking than the paved part. It is the worst quality paving I've ever seen. As you can see, all the cars here are turning. Nobody ever goes down this road. I don't know where it goes. Seemingly nowhere. And we are in a park in Fort Saskatchewan. With this, we are about 3 or 4 kilometers away from ice cream, I believe. And this is a huge park. Not quite as big as like the Northeast Edmonton Park, but it's quite big. Just goes around the river, huge arc right along the bank. And Fort Saskatchewan's river valley is somewhat similar to Edmonton's, although their banks aren't as big because we're higher up on the river. Like right now, we're a good 10 meters above the river already, whereas in Edmonton, you can go within like 2 or 3 meters of the river. You can kind of see the banks up there. It is the same river that we crossed earlier, the North Saskatchewan River. Although this is the downstream of it, so we see all the Edmonton pollution in the river, which is not much, honestly. We actually do a bunch of water filtering and shit. Although, funny enough, we passed by the dump, or the old dump at least. It used to be built literally beside the river. Not sure who decided that. Good old 40s engineering. In fact, downtown Edmonton used to dump all their trash down the river back in like the 30s or whatever. And I guess there's still shit buried in that river valley, although it's a really nice park now. It's an interesting deterrent to any developers. They can't fuck with it. So no stupid backroom deals are gonna get rid of the park protections, because it'd be useless anyway. There's a bunch of golf courses down in the river valley, and most of those are, at least a bunch of them are owned by the city of Edmonton itself. And I've heard that those golf courses are what paid for the actual pass system. Membership fees and all that. But there is one golf course that's private that pays the city almost nothing for the land, and it's some of the most valuable land in the entire city, because they have some 100-year lease. This is the Victoria Golf Course, I believe it's called. It's right beside Horlack Park. And we're going to see a whole bunch of pedestrians today because, of course, it's Saturday. In fact, at the ice cream stop, we're probably going to see a whole bunch of people sitting there eating ice cream. It's a very popular spot for both just people in general and cyclists. I've seen a whole bunch of cyclists there. If you're wondering, today is basically a zone 2 day. I'm not trying to go hard or fast, because obviously I'm trying to talk to the camera. If I was trying to go fast, I couldn't talk properly. I'd be too concentrating on what I'm doing. This way I can at least talk to the camera and offer my amazing ice cream takes. Someday I might take you guys on a poutine run on the stream. I'm not sure when. Someday when it's nice out. Because who doesn't want poutine when it's nice out? I'll probably go to La Poutine near downtown Edmonton. It is apparently the 5th best poutineery in all of Canada. 4th or 5th or something like that. And they've got a bunch of crazy flavors. Just, I mean, obviously they got the basic poutine and it's good. I had it a bunch of times. I'm trying a few of theirs. I once had a taco poutine. It's quite good. They make the taco beef themselves and stuff. I think, but it's good. I mean, it's you know, it's street food. Poutine is not meant to be gourmet or anything, so crushed up tacos work well. It's certainly better than the average fast food poutine because, of course, in Canada, every fast food has poutine, including McDonald's, even though their fries are not very good for poutine. And, I mean, their fries are good on their own. Why would you bother with poutine on them? The Donair place, which is a... Donairs are a unique Canadian version of doner kebab, or gyro, or hero, however Americans say it, which I believe is Turkish in origin. But in Canada, it was a Greek person that created donair. And basically, this gyro, or hero, or doner kebab, whatever you want to call it, except it's got this sauce in it that's weird. It's like a kind of condensed milk and vinegar mix or something like that. Very unique flavor. Obviously you can just order it like with tzatziki or with garlic sauce or whatever I want instead of that. And technically it's no longer a donair, but obviously that's an option if you don't like the sauce. But the meat is good. And the place that I always go for donairs has great fries. It's this place called Swiss Donair in the north end of Edmonton. Those gates are actually open, sometimes they're not. So they're easy to pass by. And yeah, like I say, this river valley is a lot flatter than ours. It's got this huge basin at the bottom of it. Ours has a really steep, big hill, pretty much on all sides of it for the entire length of Edmonton, pretty much. These guys, I don't know, there's some kind of frisbee golf course here. And when we have some areas like this, like Rundle Park and Holac Park, but it's usually pretty small areas, whereas these guys have it all along their entire coast of the river. As far as I understand it, Fort Edmonton used to be like an old prison, or Fort Saskatchewan rather. Fort Edmonton is in the middle of Edmonton. I bike by there every once in a while too. They have a nice path. Nice flat road here. Decent quality pavement, not too bad on the bumps or cracks. Decent amount of speed without even trying. I think there might be a slight tailwind, but there's very little wind today, honestly. If there is, it is south. I think I looked at the weather report, but it's not too bad. And like most cyclists, I'm of the opinion wind is worse than hills. Wind will just tire you the hell out. Even if you have a nice power meter like I do, you can see just how much effort you're outputting. It sucks doing two on a flat hill, on a flat road. It's just not fun. Wind noise in your ears sucks. It's bad. Climbing a hill, I mean, it's hard, but it's not terrible. I sometimes go to Highwood Pass near Calgary and just climb that. I mean, it's a really nice place to bike, so I go do that every once a year or so, because before June 15th of each year, it's closed to cars. Unfortunately, before about June 10th every year, it's also full of ice and snow. The design of the path here is a bit tricky when you're coming back. Constantly miss it and go that way. Instead, I want to go this way. Of course, you have to like turn around basically. You have to do a U-turn when you're going back the other way. That's the only real hill I have to deal with going to Fort Saskatchewan. Or at least to this ice cream place. It's not a particularly big hill. It's a little bit steep in one part. I could have done it a lot easier than I did. But there's another cyclist there, so of course I gotta put up power. Because of the telemeters, we average a lot, so I don't even know if you'd even see my peak power there. It was a 300 and something. But it was sustained for like 10 seconds, so not exactly a huge effort. I guess the signal's not great here, which is kind of surprising because we're within the city of Fort Saskatchewan. There's a small down uphill here, which basically doesn't exist because all the down gives you speed to go up. And you just end up at the same speed that you're going before. You can actually go around it and cut through the grass. But why bother, especially on a road bike? There's a slope line here. I guess this is kind of a hill. It's not Yeah, obviously lost signal in that forest tunnel there. I can never remember. I think I want to go down here. And across that bridge is where that crappy road I was talking about earlier is, with the worst pavement I've ever seen. A lot of people like my free hub sounds like a pack of snakes. And I can stop in like a foot. There's absolutely no danger to any pedestrians. I generally assume, and I'm probably right, that I'm the most experienced cyclist between any two interactions, so I'm always working to avoid whatever might happen, especially. Even if a well-trained dog like that, it's fine. You never know when it won't be. Seen a bunch of wildlife around here. You see like coyotes and everything here occasionally. And foxes and stuff. You have these weird sculptures. That one's a snake. You can see it. There's a beaver back there. I don't know if you saw. I wonder if I can set a delay on that. Make sure that's live for like longer than 10 seconds or something. And here we are at a 5-way intersection. And the one that goes up the hill is the one that goes to ice cream. Small hill. Probably the easiest hill of the entire trip. And here we are, Miller's Ice Cream at the old train station. This is here, where nobody will steal it. Alright, chat. Leave you guys behind because I'm going to point cameras at a bunch of people. And I will be back with ice cream. Hello, chat. We're back with ice cream. This is a tiger ice cream. Something that is only in Canada. It is orange ice cream with black licorice ripple. It is one of my favorite flavors. It's one of the few flavors I get from this place multiple times.
Still thinks she's attached to you. Come in. Good job.
Sure? There's no going back once it's in there. All done? Okay. Let's go wipe your hands.
Well, chat. That's our ice cream. That's probably way too much ice cream, but you know, I don't do anything half-ass. Yeah, heart rate of 92, eating ice cream. Badass. Anyway. Now we go back. I usually, most of my trips I usually do like a loop. Rather than there and back. But Fort Saskatchewan is one of the exceptions to that. Because it's basically impossible to do any sort of loop without going on the big highway. Just putting the stupid thing on. Alright, sorted. This guy here. Yeah, I almost always prefer to bike in a loop because it's more interesting to go different scenery the entire time. This way, I mean, you see it from a different angle, I guess, so not quite the same scenery. That is Fort Saskatchewan as far as I understand it, or at least some kind of recreation tourism thing version of it. It's basically just a big wooden house. Doesn't seem that interesting. I suppose it's one of those historical things that kids do on field trips. Regularly see goats here. They got some kind of goats that maintain these lawns all the time. I've seen them multiple years, multiple times. So it's not like a one-off thing. They seem to do it very regularly. And now we go down the hill. That was a weird turn. Alright. Back on the road. We're done the ice cream for today, chat, but I'm too lazy to change the title. We're biking back to Edmonton. Back to the bench that we started. And there is a south wind. It's not a strong one. I don't think you can hear it in my mic as far as I know. I should actually add weather to my map there. Probably just something that updates like every hour or whatever. It doesn't need to be a lot. That's weird. Yeah, I think I mentioned this earlier. There's like a beaver public art thing here. Looks pretty nice. I have a whole bunch of public art stuff in the Edmonton River Valley, but all very different. And I'm back in the forest, and these paths have cut out again for a bit. It'll probably be once we're actually climbing the hill after we cross this bridge. I'd go the other way just to make a loop, but it's not the greatest. It probably wouldn't make for very good stream content. The scenery is not good, it's basically just a highway. It would be loud, annoying. On the way back, this is pretty much the only hill to deal with. I guess there's like one other one, but it's not much of a hill. You can kind of skip it if you want to know the grass there. I'll probably cut out again here. The last time, at least on the way up. Yeah, this is the other hill. You can take a right here and kind of skip the entire hill itself, but it's fine. Such a small hill. And we're back with a terrible bit rate. And this is the turn that I constantly miss. Because you got a U-turn. Yeah, if you miss that turn, you end up going through some just residential roads. It's not terribly bad, but it's not as nice as the actual path. So yeah, like I was saying, Tiger ice cream is a mix of orange with black licorice ripple. I know a lot of people don't like black licorice. Those people are crazy. It's a very unique flavor, I'll give them that. It's like that weird ozo flavor or whatever it's called. Or fennel, I think, is another plant that has pretty much the same flavor. And I like it. Especially when combined with orange, it works really well. But even like salmiak from Sweden, the salt licorice, good stuff. Most people think I'm crazy. No. The entire country of Sweden agrees with me. Looking around these people. Too many watts. Supposed to be doing a light ride today. Yeah, so you end up, if you take that wrong turn, you end up remerging right here. After going through all those houses and stuff you see there. And then back to this park. So we're in a headwind.
Nice bike.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. So I ride a 2011 Trek 2.1. I actually would like to build a new bike based on DI2 105. Time to go electric like Dylan. To steal a joke from someone I know. I hear the DI2's are really nice shifting, but mostly I'd like a new bike that's got disc brake, carbon frame. Biggest problem is, and it's expensive. The group set alone is like $1,500 or something like that. Then you gotta get the frame, the wheels. All the tools to put it together. I do all my own bike servicing. I'm pretty sure this bike needs a new bottom bracket. Just haven't gotten around to it yet. It does need new pulley wheels. Well, it doesn't need them, but the old ones squeak because they're these old 105 pulley wheels that have bushings instead of proper sealed bearings. And you can take them apart and put lithium grease and stuff in them, but just putting some Ultegra pulley wheels on there that have proper sealed bearings is just easier. And it's cheap, it's like 30 bucks or something. I've got them already at home, I just haven't bothered to actually replace them. So I'll probably just schedule a day and do a whole bunch of maintenance all at once. Bottom bracket, pulley wheels. if I ever build the bike, I could potentially make an entire stream out of just building the bike. That'd be interesting, although I'd probably run into some issue and have to stop the stream, so it might not be great. Because, I mean, if I run into a blocking issue, what do I do? Wait for 2 days for whatever I need to be delivered from the internet. Hell, even if it's something that I can just go to a local bike shop to get, I mean, I'm not going to pause the stream for an hour and go get it. But the chances of that are even pretty small, so I have to make absolute sure that I've got absolutely everything, which basically means half building the bike, not on the stream, and then just doing it on stream. So I don't know if that'd be great content. Rollerblading and skateboarding. You don't see a lot of people skateboarding. I mean, I used to see a lot of people skateboarding in the 80s and 90s movies. Gleaming the Cube. And Sketching, the game. You grab the back of cars, or they were on rollerblades actually, I think. I saw a dude in one of these paths doing the roller ski things. I think he used them for training like skiing. It was really long skiing, and he had ski poles, and they obviously had wheels on them so he could go on the path. Gotta say, that was interesting. That's the only time I've seen that. See the occasional recumbent bike, not too often. Occasional rollerbladers, again, not too often. I can see that other cyclist that passed us earlier still. It is not a fast day, so I didn't bother trying to keep up with him. Also, I wanted to talk to chat, and talking a weird, that kind of distance where he can kind of hear me. He might think I'm kind of talking towards him. I'm not sure if he's going. No, he's not going on the gravel road. He's taking the actual road up on the paved section. Because most people aren't as crazy as me, taking gravel on a road bike. You can see, I actually expect cyclists here, despite the poor quality of road and complete lack of actual path. It'd be nice if they built a dedicated path. There's plenty of road, there's room on the side of the road where they could. Washboard section. And now that this has dried out a bit, it's not as nice to bike on. It was better when it was damp. Oh, I guess it's back damp here again. If it's too wet, it would suck, but when it's slightly damp, it's not bad. Yeah, so cars just park right there because there's no real access to this path system. Instead of building a real path along the side here, and we're back in the forest paths. If I recall, the signal is actually pretty good for most of this. As I said, totally perfect signal. It's actually not bad though, considering we're in like a pretty thick forest. But it does open up a lot here. Maybe there's just a really nearby cell tower or something. Back to the old gravel roads. And of course more hikers. Not as many as the paved paths back in the Fort Saskatchewan, of course. So, anyone's wondering, I was of course inspired by Rob CD, or Rob Compact Disc. He does a lot of these cycling streams all over Japan. I don't know if he does them in Australia where he's from, but he's done, I think he's done Korea and China a few times. I've seen a few of his streams, but then of course he inspired Connor, CDogBA, and he's the guy that I've seen most cycling from. Even though he's not really a cyclist streamer, he does the annual cyclathon for charity. They're great streams where he cycles around Japan. And I mean, to some of those places he cycles, I would love to go cycling. That's another goal. Go cycling in Japan, at least on the Shimanami Kaido. Love to do that one. If I ever do it, I will try to stream it, honestly. Because that'll be cool. I doubt I'll have anywhere near as good a quality stream as Connor did, but might as well. Plus, I mean, it'd be cool. Oh yeah, that ice cream place, I was going to say, they're based out of Calgary. The place that actually makes the ice cream is a place called Foothills Creamery. And someday, maybe next month, if things work, depends on what happens, the weather and stuff, I may do a stream in Calgary. Not sure exactly what I'm going to do, but probably something like Fish Creek and Glenmore Reservoir and stuff like that. Possibly going kind of between the two. Probably not too long of a stream, but decent sized. I'd love to stream like Highwood Pass or the road between like Jasper and Moline Lake, which I've done a few times. But there is no cell signal in any of those places. Literally none. You can use something like a Starlink, but then you gotta pay Elon, and that's not great. And also, it's just expensive for something that I use like once or twice a year. At least this setup actually has multiple uses. The action camera itself I can use to record things. I have recorded offline versions of Moline Lake and Highwood Pass. They're pretty decent. Well, it would be more interesting to stream with an audience, you know, if there were an actual chat to chat. But, you know, maybe someday. I did get the one bot today. You know, you're making it when the bots are bugging you. I know Ludwig tried his, how long does it take to get one chatter, when he tried to stream on an alternate account without telling anybody. It took him something like 6 hours, I think it was, 6 or 8 hours, before a single person showed up that didn't know who he was otherwise. It wasn't like a bot. And like, he is a experienced streamer. He has all the equipment that he needs, but most importantly, he has the experience, the draw of someone who knows how to stream and play video games. He knows how to keep the conversation going and shit, even without chatters. Although he did say that was like the most depressing shit, just talking with no chatters. But yeah, I mean, he started that way. He wasn't always a huge streamer. And everybody got to start from somewhere. I have all the equipment I need, at least for now. Now I just gotta actually make the content and hope that some people want to watch it. Who knows? Maybe someday somebody will want to watch a 40-year-old cycling around Edmonton because it's just interesting. My first Steph stream, I went to St. Albert. This one, obviously, I'm going to Fort Saskatchewan. It's interesting. Eventually, I'm just going to run out of interesting places to go. Obviously, I've got the entire Edmonton River Valley yet, which is going to be a lot of good area cover. And like I say, I might do a Calgary stream. If I recover anywhere else with my bike, I'll consider streaming it, just because I can. Maybe even without the bike, if I just go somewhere interesting. Do a walk around, walk and talk, steal that from good old Pete. Pete Macy, great guy. Seems like a really cool guy. Seems like a nice guy. I'm sure on and off stream. Peter, I believe, is his Twitch. And I mean, in that whole sphere, there's also cameraman Paul, who does the occasional cycling stream. I think he just finished a really long one. Like he was doing 6 days of cycling, I believe it was. And I think he's the same age as me. I think he's around 40. Probably is not as experienced of a cyclist as I am. But he's definitely... Hi. Good, nice spot. Anyway, like I was saying, Paul certainly has more experience streaming than I do. And he's a cameraman, so he definitely has the equipment. I think he uses an Osmo Pocket, which is better than this Osmo Action that I use. The one that can do 60 FPS. This one just doesn't. It's not capable, even at like 720, 60. I can't do it. Kind of weird. Should be more than enough bandwidth on it. I know it's limited to USB 2, even though it's a USB-C port. because electronics around the time that transition happened were lazy. They just put the port on. Which, you know, it's nice. I'd rather have a USB-C port even if it is USB 2. But it'd be nicer if it was USB 3. And I could do the 4K 60 thing. What's really crazy about this setup, so I use a Razda Rock 5B+. Obviously right now I'm using UVC USB streaming mode. It can actually do HDMI, full 4K. So I could plug in a really nice camera to this system and it would work just the same. I don't have a proper case for this streaming computer. It is literally in a box in my backpack. It's in the box so it doesn't get crushed by the backpack itself. The sock temperature is like 60 degrees or something like that. It's probably a little better when I'm actually moving. I looked at that while I was eating ice cream there. But 60 degrees is fine. Apparently they're good up to like 80. I'm out of water. I could have put most of my water bottles, but I didn't think I'd need it today because I wasn't riding very fast or hard. My other water bottle is a real water bottle, but it's also Sask. It's one of Podium's Podium Steel vacuum, and it's holds more water than this little thermal flask that I use. But it does keep the things cold about the same. Maybe slightly worse. Usually the ice cube is melted by the time I get back, but the water is still cold. Of note, I only ever use water in that Podium Steel, just pure straight water. No electrolytes, nothing. It keeps it clean better. In this thermal flask I do use full sugar Gatorade and shit. Because it doesn't have a valve. It's a lot easier to clean. And we are back crossing the river. Let's see. Yeah, so my sock temperature is 57 degrees. Good stuff. Scenery again here. We're back to the Quarry Golf Course. And I heard squeaky bushings on those bikes. Usually when you hear squeaking, it is regularly not the chain. Sometimes it is, obviously, but it's regularly the bushings in the little pulleys. One thing that people don't think to look for, because like the oil the chain, can't get rid of the squeak. Some people tell them to replace the chain because they don't think of the bushings. A lot of dogs here. See, Slime says it's easier to have 9 dogs because they'll all take care of each other. But I've seen that picture of Daniel Radcliffe with all the dogs. That does not seem easy. I have a cat. He's great. Very little takes care of him. He mostly takes care of himself. Sleeps by the window, bugs me for pets whenever he needs them, bugs me for food, bugs me for treats. Plays with his toys. It's a good life. In that section that was just cut out, I've seen deer and cows. There's cows in this field here to the right. I also saw wild deer to the left. I didn't, not this stream, I just seen them both once on the same ride recently, but weirdly deer don't actually come into the Edmonton River Valley much. There's a clear green path for them all the way downtown, but it's extremely rare to get any sort of big wildlife over there. Chirp, chirp, chirp. This cliff is interesting. There's actually a bike path on the top of it. It's a different way to get to Fort Saskatchewan path, at least it goes to the same gravel path. It goes by a big golf course to the left of here that I mentioned earlier. It's called like Raven Crest or something. It has this crazy hill beside it that looks daunting as hell. It's not actually that bad. The hill that we're about to climb is actually worse. But the hill that we're about to climb is going to be beside that Fort Edmonton Park that I pointed out on the way in. Always surprising to see people literally just walking this far out. You must have had to walk a good 4 or 5 kilometers of just all this. And you know, I've done a lot of 4 or 5 kilometer walks, but usually I have a destination in mind. This random nature walking, I mean, I'd rather bike it. It's just, I do like cycling. And it's faster, which is more fun. In case you're wondering, yes, I'm biking without my hands. This is, if you've never tried it on a road bike, it is much harder to do than like on your standard mountain bike or like a cheap Walmart bike or whatever. The geometry makes this front end a lot less stable, which is great for handling, not great for doing stuff like that. You see joggers here a lot. Jogging, I can understand jogging, but just like walking seems weird. Maybe the guy was jogging and he stopped and just started walking. You never know. Of course, someone like me, fully kitted out, they assume that I'm going fast, or they're idiots and they assume that I'm going to the grocery store and can't do that without getting on my full kit. And it's funny, of course, because sometimes I'm 100 kilometers into a ride and I'll stop at like a convenience store or something, so it does kind of look like that, but they don't see the 100 kilometers before. And usually at that point I'm riding pretty easy for a cool down anyway. So it doesn't look like I know what I'm doing, but I did just finish 100 kilometers, sometimes very quickly. My current 100 kilometer time trial record, which means it doesn't matter how much I stop or anything, just clock on the wall, is 3 hours and I think it's 6 minutes. Which I obviously did in a really rural place, because stopping absolutely kills the speed. I'm pretty sure about 20% of my time in cycling in the city is just sitting at red lights. They're obviously timed for the traffic, not for cyclists going about half their speed. And we're going slow with the headwind. I'm not really trying that hard. Because today is just a long day, not a particularly hard day. It's not even that long. We only have like, I don't know, 50 kilometers or something. Not sure what exactly it says on the screen there, but obviously I biked to the start. So my actual distance is a bit more. My mouth. And this is the hardest climb of the entire trip. It's not even that much of a hill, but it's a bit longer and steeper than you might expect. You can see for the Northeast Edmonton Park to the right there. Oh, you're still going uphill. I'm not sure if my grade calculation worked. If it does, it's like 10 seconds behind, if I recall. Or more. Yeah, that one's the hardest hill of the whole bunch. My heart rate is also delayed, but that's actually just natural. For whatever reason, it always takes a while for my heart rate to go up. So I didn't go up until I was already past the hill there. But in order to calculate the grade, I need a bunch of previous samples. And because of that, the grade ends up being weird and wrong. Also, I'm using purely GPS altitude, which is, as far as I know, kind of wrong and bad. If you have like a barometer to increase the altitude accuracy, it's a lot better. As far as I understand it, the way that it calculates speed is fascinating though. It doesn't just take your points. Like the GPS itself provides speed. I'm not calculating that. And it just takes, like it doesn't just look at the points, it also looks at the Doppler shift of the GPS signal that it's receiving from a known satellite. And it knows the speed of those satellites, which is some insane 15 kilometers a second or whatever it is. They'll be on the escape velocity because they're in really high orbits. you know, orbital mechanics, fun stuff. And yeah, it calculates the Doppler shift in order to calculate how fast it's moving compared to something that's stationary. And because of that, it's actually can be more accurate than the speedometer in a car, which is plus or minus, I think, 3 kilometers by, well, maybe it's 3 miles, I'm not sure. Because obviously the NHTSA or whatever it is sets those goals, and the Americans pretty much run that. Although Canada does have our own standards for it, a lot of them are just copied. Plenty of cyclists, of course. Very popular route with cycling. Oh. All right, and we're back going under the big Anthony Henday Bridge. That is the Anthony Henday that you see the cars racing by there. Luckily we get to go underneath it. Don't have to deal with any of those cars. And we are coasting because I'm lazy. Pink bench. This path goes basically nowhere. There's kind of a park over there with a bad gravel trail, but it doesn't really go anywhere. What is that? Wanda and something or other? I never actually watched the cartoon. I'm walking up the hill, which is crazy. Things usually just take the path. It's a really nicely graded hill. Very easy to climb up. Yeah, I wasn't even in the easiest gear yet at that point. Switch to it now so I can be even more lazy. And here we are at the start. And I recognize this bench from where we started. That chat means one thing. I don't have a goodbye screen or anything, but that means the end of the stream. Yep. on the bench where it all started. Camera in a spot that'll stay. Yeah. That is pretty much all there is to it. I think that's we're got our ice cream. We talked about ice cream flavors. Talked about junk food. Oh, that's pretty. But you know, protein's good enough. You can't see me. Yeah. So yeah, you can see we're back at our start point, and the stream is over, and now we have to bike all the way home. Goodbye, chat. Goodbye. Goodbye forever. No, not forever, obviously. I'll be back. I'll do another stream. I'm not sure when. If I'm particularly feel like it, maybe next week, honestly. Depends on bandwidth stuff, depends on weather, depends if I